conference, and I apologize for canceling the one last week. There was a couple papers that needed to get filled out that weren't completed, so now we're ready to go. There's some folks here that I would like to introduce so everybody knows who the elected officials are. Megan Sims is from Congressman Carson's office. She's with us today as his representative. He's very adamant concern about food deserts throughout his district, so we wanted to include them today. Deb Jenkins, our Marion County Surveyor, is with us today. Brandon Hurt with Senator Donnelly's office couldn't be here today, but they send their regards, and we meet with Senator Young's staff on Wednesday, is that right? Yes. To talk about several of items, food being one of them, obviously. Our police chief is here, Mark Schwartz. Our parks director's here, Tom Hannon. Elizabeth Lamping, City Council, our City Council District 1 representative is with us today. And there's several others that are with us, and so we're going to move on. As you know, the Marsh supermarket closed on July the 9th. That had a long history of stores at that location, including Standard, Low Bills, Lowe's, and Marsh, for those who have been around a long time. I remember those stores, but they filed bankruptcy and they closed stores, and they got down to a total of 44 stores. They had an auction, and a company bid on 26 of them. Beech Grove Marsh was not one of them. So on July the 9th at noon, the Beech Grove Marsh closed. About 2 months before that, we started working on trying to repurpose the property, and we didn't want it to become a food desert. Mayor Hogshead has been very vocal about feeding people and people who are hungry, and that's the case in that area. There's a lot of people who depend on that grocery store who do not drive. So we really got to look out for those people. Going to CVS, Walgreens, and Village Pantry is not a viable option for groceries. So today I'm here to announce that pretty soon that grocery store will become a Safeway grocery store. And here to, I want to introduce some people with Safeway that are important that this works. To my left, Scott Weaver is the managing partner of Saul Capital, LLC. Behind me is Brad Cross with Grace Foods. In the audience is Carl Blaze. Carl, raise your hand up. Carl used to be the manager of Marsh, and he is going to continue in that capacity only with the Safeway store. In the back is Whitney. Whitney is the marketing director for Safeway, is that right?
Yep.
And Morgan is an intern working with Safeway this summer. She's a student at Butler University. So having said that, I've talked enough, and I want to turn it over to Scott Weaver. Scott and I have had more than one conversation concerning this property, and along with Brad, and we've had meetings, and we're very happy about this, but it's time to get down to business and make it better for the people of this city. So Scott, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. So Brad and I joined forces last year and acquired Safeway Foods from the prior owners. And for those of you that may or may not know, we operate 5 stores here in Indianapolis, all neighborhood type stores. Our closest store to the Beech Grove store is at Shelby and Raymond. And then we have one at 16th and Emerson, 25th and Sherman, 56th in Illinois, and 30th in Kessler. We watched the Marsh bankruptcy, and I kept saying to Brad, I don't know why anybody's buying this store in Beech Grove. So after the auction, we contacted the appropriate parties, and we were able to work through all the paperwork and all the things you have to do when you're dealing with a company that's going through a liquidation. I got a hold of the mayor. Ironically, we were both in Florida on vacation at the time, and then I came back up and met with Mayor Buckley, and he's been great to work with and is 110% behind us. I've also met recently with Mayor Hogsett and working with him on some other projects around Indianapolis. Our stores fill a really good niche. We're neighborhood grocery stores. And this store right here is smack dab in the middle of nothing but residential. And we look forward to be opening. I'll let Brad talk about the opening and the number of employees and whatnot that we've already rehired from Marsh, and that we'll be hiring through a job fair here in the next couple of days. So I'll turn it over to Brad Cross.
Good afternoon. So on the job fair, we figured up 98% of the employees who were working at closing have been rehired. So, which is super for us. But there's going to be openings, and we're going to be interviewing this Thursday here, correct, Mayor? He was nice enough to loan us this facility, and we anticipate hiring 20 to 25 positions this week. And it'll be in all departments: cashier, stocking, produce department, some deli help, and possibly meat help. So we hope to have there'll be several of us here to interview. It goes from, I believe, 9 to 1. And so we'll have a staff here to hold interviews, fill out applications, and take it from there. Scott and I are excited about this. Our employees are excited. Our employees throughout the company are all excited about it, and we want to try to get open. There's always delays, just simple things, and so we hope sometime the first week of August that we can open the doors. And if sooner, we'll do it sooner. We start filling this truck. Starting tomorrow, semis are coming in with groceries, and they just continue to come in through the weekend, and we'll see how far we get. Any questions?
Is Safeway regional or national, and how many stores do you guys have?
We have the rights to this area, so this is going to be our 6th store. We're an independent, basically. So. Yes, sir.
What building changes or improvements do you have in mind, or are you going to use it as it is?
Well, we are making some changes, but we're going to work with what we have also. The building's in very good shape. The equipment seems to be in good shape. We're checking everything today, the refrigeration and all that stuff, but, so there'll be some improvements. Yes?
Is your pricing comparable to like Kroger's and Meijer and others of you know? Can you tell us a little bit about that as far as?
Our pricing's going to be right in line.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you have your own like special, your own Safeway special line as.
Yes, we are members of a co-op.
Okay.
And so how many customers do you think they have, Scott?
Oh, thousands.
Yeah, thousands of us, and it's so we all own a part of this wholesaler. And they're one of the largest in the United States, co-ops. So, and then at the end of the year, the profits are shared. So it's a pretty good buying bracket, how we get our groceries. So there's probably 8 warehouses throughout the country. Ours come from Nashville, Tennessee.
Did you guys talk about or have any thought about buying more Marshes, or was it always just this one in Beech Grove?
I'm sorry. Scott had his eyes on Beech Grove, and we're going to open this one and see where it takes us. Never say never, but there are some other plans in the city right now that we really can't get into because there's still plans. And Scott's been working on those with the mayor, along with the mayor. So,
The employees that you retained from Marsh, did they have to go off the payroll, or did you guys immediately put them on the payroll and to retain them?
they're on the payroll,
They
but we are also a union, our store. So we have some brackets to follow along, but everybody's come on board, and they're ready to go.
All the normal departments meet, dairy, pharmacy?
No pharmacy, but yes. Yes,
You know what the hours of the store will be when you do open?
Carl, I believe you said 6 to 10? Yes, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yes.
Will you have any specials for senior citizens? I know Marsh used to have, on Thursdays, 10% off for senior citizens for, do anything like that?
You know, we haven't finished the whole game plan yet. It's a good, very good question. Okay.
Brad, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
When we started talking with Scott, we didn't just want another grocery store. We wanted somebody who will partner with the city and someone who will partner with the people that live in that area, that could give the people a quality product at a decent price. And that's all we ask. And we also want them to become part of the community. We have people here who are hungry. We talked about it at lunch a little while ago. We have a blessings box behind City Hall, and there's 3 of them throughout the school district, and all of them unfortunately get used quite a bit. So we also want them to become involved in our school district and do some other things in the park system and as such. And last but not least, we're going to form a partnership with Franciscan Health because they are moving over 600 jobs back to Beech Grove. So that's all coming down the road, and we're looking forward to it. I want to introduce my friend, Mayor Hogsett. You have heard him time and time again talk about people who are hungry, people who are disadvantaged, and people who have no access to food. So I wanted him to come out and share his vision on how we as a community can help these people. So Mayor Hogsett, could you come up, please?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Well, good afternoon. I first must apologize for running a little late. Mayor Buckley always tries to run a tight ship, so I knew when I was delayed, I was in for it. Let me just say at the outset, though, I've served as mayor of the city of Indianapolis for 19 months now or so, and this is my absolute favorite news conference ever. For 2 reasons. Number one, the nature of the topic, because this is a big day for the city of Beech Grove. It's a big day for the city of Indianapolis. And I'm honored to be here with Mayor Buckley. I'm honored to be here with Scott and Brad because their commitment, Safeway's commitment to Beech Grove is profound, it's significant. And so it's a happy day. And sometimes in this job, well, every day's a good day. Some are just better than others, and this happens to be one of the better days. The second reason why this is my favorite news conference ever is that this is the first time I've appeared at a news conference when the Q&A has happened before I've spoken. All the questions and answers are over. And now I get to speak. I'm only kidding, halfway. Be happy to take questions if you have them, but as with Mayor Buckley, I too want to thank Scott, to Brad, to all of the folks who are responsible for bringing, and now all of us who are welcoming Safeway to Beech Grove. It is truly a day of celebration, a cause for great joy for the citizens and the residents of Beech Grove. The headlines earlier this year speak for themselves. They carried with them ominous tones about a number of Marsh stores that were subject to permanent closure because of the filing of bankruptcy, which would further place Marion County and the city of Indianapolis into deeper food insecurity. We already have our fair share of challenges. And then when you layer on top of that a number of different stores, Marsh stores, not just in Indianapolis, but in the central Indiana region, that were subject to closure as a result of the business challenges that Marsh found itself facing, it was ominous. If this location that we celebrate today had closed without anyone's interest or a new buyer prospectively, this area served by this store would have been compromised. I won't say that it would have fallen into food desert category, but it may very well have. A new wave of residents here in this area and in Beech Grove particularly would have become insecure, food insecure. You know, those of us who own automobiles, for the most part, we're never food insecure. Well, rarely. We can get in our car, and we may very well have to drive another mile or 2 or 3 to another grocery store or supermarket, but we can get there. The residents of Beech Grove, the residents of this community who would have faced food insecurity, are perhaps the most vulnerable of our citizens, who depend on transportation to and from, and far too often the worst case scenario happens. But not today. Thanks to today's announcement, the residents of Beech Grove do not have that extra cause for concern, and we cannot overstate what a great day this is indeed with Safeway's commitment to this community. As we look ahead, it's my hope that today's announcement can serve as a model for potential buyers throughout all of Indianapolis and central Indiana. For if we come together for the good of all people, if the private sector and the public sector, as we do in this city, Indianapolis, and in Beech Grove specifically, you know, we do public-private sector partnerships better than any place in the country. And as long as we can continue to come together for the good of the people, then I am convinced we will continue to truly make a difference. After today, at least as far as this community is concerned, no one can deny that. And I am glad, proud, and happy to be able to be with you, however tardy I might have been. I'm very proud to be with you to join in the celebration of today's announcement. Be happy to answer any specific questions you might have of me. Or I'd open it up for any more questions you might have of the three of them.
In order to retain a viable food source for this community, were tax incentives a part of this deal?
No, they weren't. We've asked the city for some job training credits, and we're still working through that. Mayor Buckley's staff has provided some assistance to us, just helping clean up the area where the store is. But it was not conditioned on any type of incentive for us to buy the store.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking of a really hard question for you, Mayor Hogsett. But in the meantime, I'll ask Mayor Buckley. I was just curious if, really it's a two-question thing. How concerned were you about that area once Marsh announced it was closing? And were you surprised that your store wasn't involved in that initial 26 store?
Yes, I was very surprised that they weren't included. The very first ribbon cutting that I attended as mayor back in 2012 was the Marsh grocery store. They had invested millions of dollars into that store. And they had done a market study, and it had shown the viability of a grocery store in that area. It just proved to them enough that they made a major investment in that store. So I was very surprised when that was not one of the 26 stores that was sold. I was very concerned, your first question, I was very concerned about the store closure because, as Mayor Hogsett alluded to, there are countless people who live in that neighborhood who do not drive, who depend on that grocery store for their grocery needs. And when you talk to, it's different when you talk to them personally, and they tell you their plight and they're concerned. So yes, God works in strange ways because I was sitting at a table and my phone rang and it was Scott Weaver. And you just connect the dots, and here we are today. So we have a ways to go, but we're going to work hand in hand and get this vital service back open to the general public.
What does it mean for this community to retain those jobs as well?
I think it's wonderful. There was 45 people who worked at the Marsh grocery store. It says a lot about the manager, Carl Blaze, when all but two want to come back. Those people are immensely grateful to Safeway, and we're going to do our part as a city and hold a job fair this Thursday from 9 to 1 so we can have opportunities for people who live in the city of Beech Grove to gain meaningful employment. So it's good news.
Mayor, you said that San Francisco is bringing back 600 people to work. What is this field going to be? What is it?
Well, it's visiting nurse services and Franciscan Health Insurance. They do all of the medical billing. They brought back 300 already, and we had a dedication ceremony a couple of weeks ago. They're going to bring back up to 600 people, and they are going to be doing some more work over there. It's not all doom and gloom. There's some wonderful work happening over there, and they want to make sure the needs of the people that work on that campus are met, and one of those needs is with food. So I see a partnership between Safeway and Franciscan coming down the road. We're going to connect the right people. I don't really need to be in that conversation, but Scott and Brad and Carl need to be. So that's some of the things that we need to be doing. So.
I've got one more question. The old St. Francis Hospital, what's becoming of that? And I heard that they're going to build a new police station. Is this true?
I would like to build a new police and fire station there, but it's not in the immediate plans. The immediate plans are to dismantle the buildings and clean it up environmentally and then turn it into green space.
I just want to applaud you and congratulate both the city and Safeway for seeing the problem and doing something about it and finding a solution. And the speed with which this is being done is really awesome. And so congratulations to all of you and thank you.
Thank you.
I will say, Mayor Hogsett and I was at a meeting last Thursday with the Central Indiana Conference of Elected Officials, and they were kind of, it's area mayors, and they were kind of rubbing us a little bit because they think that we seem to get everything, but that's not the case. Anyway, I'm all for Mayor Hawk said, I'm all for the city of Indianapolis because when they go, we go. So this is good news, and I hope this carries over to other ventures that the mayor's talking about.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mayor. Scott, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Look forward to doing some more of this with you.
We'll have to converse.